The big homie. Mm. Now, I remember, hold up, before I even address this, listen, man, as usual, there's always a troll on here that got something negative to say. But I get it. In life, there's going to always be negativity. See, in order to get a currency, you need a negative charge and a positive charge. And that way, you get balance. So it's always going to be some people, no matter what you say or how you say it on here, there's going to have something stupid to say. What my what I'm doing is called from the ground up. It's my life story. It's nothing positive about what I'm saying. I know that. There was nothing positive about what I was doing in the streets of Las Vegas. I had an unfortunate life. I made unfortunate decisions. Got caught up in unfortunate circumstances. I'm just sharing them with you. I have a right to. If you don't like it, kick rocks. Period. Okay? Now, last time I left off, I talked about how I strangled a counselor and got kicked out of juvenile. You know, hey, I was on that water, that Sherm, and I was on a trip. I told you about that. Well, it eventually got me sent back to to Elko. And I told y'all when I was in Elko, the first time, if you've been following from the ground up, how I tried to commit suicide, I hung myself and was sent to the crazy house, stuff like that. But this time when I went back, I wasn't in the Explorer dorm. I was a little bit older. I was in Indian dorm. So when I was in this dorm, I was in there with people like Big Craze, Chucky Gaines from Rolling 60s. I was in there with, as a matter of fact, I was in there before QB from Shaky Lope from Rolling 60s got killed. He got out and got killed. I was in there with Blue Brains from BTD, uh, Kiki Lope from Rolling 50s, Jody Gyro, Jody Fitzgerald from K9s, Marlo Thomas, Ice Dog from K9s, Henry Amaryllis, Houdini from 28th Street. You know, just to name a few. You had some reputable dudes up in this dorm. You know, I remember Chucky Gaines, Crazy Low, Crazy. His uncle died, and they wouldn't let him go to. They wouldn't give him a furlough. You know, which is to let you out to go to attend a funeral, whatever. They wouldn't let him do that. So him, Henry Amaryllis, Marlo Thomas, Blue Brain, and at first it was Jody Gyro. They came up with a plan to run from Elko, but Elko is in Elko, Nevada. It sits in the middle of nowhere, and you either gonna go right or left. You're not gonna get away. The only person that One of the only persons that ever really escaped from Elko and got away was Rolling 60 Romeo, Freddie Prentice. He was one of the only ones that ever escaped Elko, when we was going there. But Elko is like, I won't say the CYA of Las Vegas, because Shelby Training Center became that. Because if you got too bad for Elko like some of us did, they sent us to Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby Training Center. So I can't say Elko was the CYA, but it was the baddest youth authority that we had in Nevada at that time. Because Spring Mountain didn't count. If you went to Spring Mountain, that didn't count. I never in my life been to Spring Mountain. If you've been to Spring Mountain, then that's nothing. That's like a gross misdemeanor compared to a felony. We Elko boys. Either you went to Elko or you wasn't about nothing. But anyway, when I was in Elko, my violence it continued. Like I said, I was going through stuff, man. I was introduced to PCP at a young age, and when I got incarcerated, my mind wasn't fully developed. I was tripping out on people. You know what I mean? I was flashing on staff. I had a quick temper. You know what I mean? You can ask Danny Pollard. I'd flashed on him so many times. I used to just flash, and I remember on this particular day in Elko, right? They started rewarding us with video games. I mean, the big ones like in the arcade. They gave us a Pac-Man machine, the one you can sit down and play, not the one you stand up. And we put our name on the list, and we play the Pac-Man games. You know what I mean? And if you level 2, level 1, because in Elko they go by levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, and they grade you weekly. you know, and they combine how you do in school with how you act in the dorms, and they give you this grade, and either you qualify for level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4. Level 1 and level 2 is the ones that eat at the front of the lines. They stay out and stay up longer. They get better privileges than level 3 and level 4. I was already always at the bottom of the dorm. That was level 4. I'm always the last to eat. I stayed in state clothes. I couldn't have my state clothes. Everybody know what state clothes is. I stayed just bad, you know. But anyway, we had this Pac-Man game. So me and this cat named Antonio Fisher from Sydney Suit, Gangsta Crib. Everybody know Antonio Fisher from Sydney Suit. So me and Antonio Fisher, we arguing over the Pac-Man game because what happened is he put his name up there, but he wrote it kind of light, and he wrote it light enough for me to erase it and don't look like it was never up there. And then I erased his name and I put my name up there, but he knew he put his name up there. So me and him, we get into it over the Pac-Man game, right? But I'm telling the counselor, look, my name right there. He was like, my name was up there first, but you couldn't really tell because he wrote it so light. I'm like, man, I'm next. So I wasn't even, I was through with it. Kiki Lope, he had just came up there from juvenile. He wasn't even introduced to the dorm. It was his first day in the dorm. He was just sitting on the couch observing everybody. Blue Brain and everybody already been there. So me and this cat get to arguing over the game, right? So the staff say, you know what? I tell you one thing, if y'all don't work it out and work it out real fast, no one's getting it. So I looked at dude like, hey man, I'm next. He like, no you ain't. I say, nigga, on my dead homie, nigga, I'm next. He say, nigga, I don't give a fuck what you put it on. I'm like, and at that time, the only dead homies I had was L and Fuji. You know what I mean? So when he said that, oh, I got right off and broke his jaw in 2 places. Boom. You know what I'm saying? One hit, broke his jaw in 2 places. Everybody remember that? You know, and Mr. Washington came up in there and grabbed me by my face, and I touched every corner in that room, and let's just say we both was in pain that day, but I broke his jaw over a Pac-Man game. But see, when you do stuff like that to people up in there, that stuff like that carry over to the streets. You know, I remember Lonnie Lee from the hood and Cassio from Donna Street got into it. Like on Christmas and stuff like that, the some staff would let us visit other dorms, and they stayed in Pioneer. And we visited them one day on Christmas. And I remember Burger B, you know what I'm saying? This when Burger B became a West Coast Blood. I'm going to get into that, you know. It's so much stuff, man. Because Burger B used to be named Lil Pep. His daddy, Big Pep, was an ace of spades. Stephen Burks, Burger B, was a GPK before he was a West Coast Blood. But he's a West Coast Blood at this moment. So Cassio was over there when the Bloods was taking pictures. You know, they all put on their red gear, their red flannels, you know what I mean? And they was taking pictures. We used to have these little Polaroid cameras they used to, you know, let us have in the Elko. They was over there flicking up. And I guess Cassio like timed it. Cause when they was all posing and they flicked it, Cassio stuck his hand in there and threw a big ass C in the back of the Bloods. So when the picture came out, it was a big ass C in the back of the Bloods. You know what I'm saying? They posing, throwing P's and B's and threes and all that. And you see a big ass C in the back. So Lonnie Lee get mad. Him and Cassio, they get into it. Lonnie Lee still on Cassio, and boy, let me tell you this here. That was the coldest fight, one of the coldest fights in Elko. Cassio and Lonnie Lee. They was in that fighting with dustpans, dust mops. They was doing all. And then look, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Y'all gonna think I'm kind of loony, but I started this thing in Elko, right? I hadn't already been to the crazy house, so I ain't care what people think about me. I done hung myself. I was tripping. But I started drinking window cleaner. And I'm going to keep it real with you. I had a whole bunch of people drink. They not going to admit it. But y'all know, and I could put it on the dead ones, y'all was drinking window cleaner right with me. We was mixing it with that Smurf berry Kool-Aid. Y'all remember that? We used to sit up that night and we used to drink window cleaner and we used to get drunk. That stuff used to get you drunk, man. It was a weird drunk, but it used to get you drunk. So Pete, one day I'm gonna tell you another story. One day this is my Elko stories. I'm in Elko, right? So one day I'm in Elko. We just came from White Rock Mountain. We used to go hiking up there, and I took me a thing a window cleaner, like it was a 40 or a pint of gin. I took me a thing of window cleaner up there. I'm drinking window cleaner, right? Get drunk in the month, yeah, window cleaner, bobblehead stuff. So look, I get full of my package, right? I'm drunk, I'm tripping. Me and the boy Uncle Bud. At this time, he was from Five Deuce Hoover. His name Jerome Hopkins, right? Now, everybody don't know that in Burgundy Square, before they were Burgundy Square Pirus, Burgundy Square Piru in Vegas was started by a guy by the name of Paul Senegai, Lil Bad Loke. He ended up getting murdered. That's another story. I'll get to that. But before they were Burgundy Square Piru, they were Five Deuce Hoover. The NTGs I told you started from a guy named Junior that was a 7-4 Hoover. Well, the Five Deuce Hoovers were in Burgundy Square, and that would be Big Play, Lil Play, Mouse, Bam, Terrell, all them guys up over there. That was Five Deuce Hoovers. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to my story. I had everybody, you know what I'm saying, drinking window cleaning and stuff, man. And one day, me and Jerome, we get into it because of some stuff that happened between, if you've been following from the ground up, I told you we had a party with the Donistries, and Ludog beat up his girl Tamai, and she went and got her sister. And her sister got hit with 40s because she jumped out the car, hitting people with bats and all that. I told you about that if you've been following the ground up. Well, this is their brother. Jerome is their brother. All right, so me and him get into it over that incident because I slapped the girl with a 40 and I end up cutting her earlobe real bad. So me and him had words over that. I'm full of my package, right? We outside the unit. So I'm trying to fight him. I'm running up on him. The staff trying to separate us, but I'm drunk. I'm swinging on him and the staff, right? They call Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson is what is known as head group. He's a head group a supervisor. He roll around on a motorcycle or he just walk around. He's a big old swole Mormon. He never cuss, but he'll slap blood out your mouth. So he came to the unit, right? I'm tripping. I'm full of that window cleaner. So he tell me to come here. I told him, I said, fuck you. He said, what you say? He said, son, I said, get your butt over here. And when I walked over there, he snatched me by my shirt. And when he snatched me by my shirt, he snatched me so hard. When he snatched me, his fist like hit me at the same time. He snatched me like, bow, hit me on my chin. And my teeth went in my lip, bust my lip open. So I'm blood everywhere. I said, you bitch ass cracker. I was being, I'm drunk. So he slapped the shit out of me. He said, shut your stinking mouth. Bow. Shut your stinking mouth. Bow. He was slapping more blood out of my mouth. I was trying to pull away from him and get away from him, right? I started biting at his knuckles and everything, swinging on him, kneeing him in his nuts. I started trying to do everything I can to get away from him. And I did because he just totally ripped my shirt up. And when I got away from him, the reason why we was outside is because we was playing baseball. And I ended up getting a baseball bat, right? He bust my mouth wide open. And what made me mad is that he didn't cuss. He was going, shut your stinking mouth. And he was slapping blood everywhere. So when I got that bat, right, I picked up one of them Louis. I picked up that Louisville Slugger. And he looked at me. He was looking at me like I wouldn't go hit him with it. Now, he got my mouth looking like I done been in a fight, like I've been sparring with Roy Jones Jr. He got my mouth leaking. Right? So I picked up the bat, and he was walking toward me like, son, come here. You gonna hit me with the bat? Well, go ahead, take your best shot. Go ahead. He told me to take my best shot. So guess what I did? I took my best shot. And I didn't hit him where he wanted me to hit him, because he was so big. He was a big buff. He was one of them big old white boys. I ain't hit him up in his head and up in his arms where he expected so he can block it. No, I hit him right on the side of his knee. And you should have heard, it sounded like I hit a home run. Bing! Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I had his ass out there river dancing. For real. And look, I worked him with the bat so bad they called Mr. Watson. Mr. Watson is another head group member. This the scary looking white boy I told you about that was calling us buckwheat. When he called you, he'll go, "Whoa, get over here, dickweed." Big tall ass, pigeon toed white boy, man. Didn't have no eyebrows, but had big ass hairy arms, and he kept his arm, his shirt like rolled up. Mr. Watson got some reputation. He knocked out Big Bo from Paru. Ask anybody. He knocked out Blue Brain from BTD. He knocked these dudes out. They had the audacity to poke their chest out at him. And Big Bo, Lazy P, was a big old motherfucker. Back then, he was big. He was humongous. But Mr. Watson knocked Big Bo out in front of Mount Nip, bruh. I was right there. You can ask Romeo, Spike, all of them. Mr. Watson knocked Big Bo out like he wasn't nothing. And I'm not trying to put tens on twos. I'm just saying this was a big-ass white man. So they called him to come deal with me. So he come up there. Now, Mr. Watson, he got a certain approach. He look like he never blinked. He don't got no eyebrows. And he don't do too much talking. Like I say, he known for going, "Whoa, get over here, dickweed. Come here, buckwheat." Or, "Put some cowboy in that step." He known for saying stuff like that. He ain't finna have no conversation. Everything else is hands-on. So look, he come up there. Now look, I'm full of my window cleaner. But when I seen that white boy coming, I ain't gonna even lie. I was burping out bubbles and shit and all kind of. And that man came. I swear to God, I got sober instantly. Cause I knew what I was finna, man. But from when I hung myself when I was up there the first time, when he walked up on me, he looked at me in my eyes, and he didn't grab me by my face like he known for doing people. He come up, he go grab you by your face. For real. I remember he told Lonnie Lee, Smooth Rock from the hood, he had on some all red BKs. He told Smooth Rock to take those shoelaces out of his shoes. And Smooth Rock looked at him like, kind of like crazy. All you heard was Smooth Rock head. He did, listen, he was bamming his head against the side of the chow hall window. And when we was going up in there, that's all you heard was his head, boom, boom, hitting that goddamn window. And Lonnie Lee a reputable. But that's how we was getting mangled in Elko. Them white boys didn't play. They will beat your ass. And listen, they call it getting your attention. But that shit was child abuse. They call it getting your attention. Anyway, so look, when Mr. Washington come, he look at me, and I'm thinking I'm finna get worked. But he said, "What's wrong, Terrell?" I tell him, I said, "You don't see my mouth, motherfucker?" I ain't said it like that. Oh, trust me, I ain't said it like that. I said it very humbly. I said, "You don't see my mouth?" My mouth was leaking. He was like, "What happened?" So I tell him what happened, right? And I swear to God, I ain't never seen two caseworkers get into it. But Mr. Washington went up there and told Mr. Anderson in his face the next time he have a problem with me to call him. And don't he ever in his life put his hands on me no more. And when he stuck up for me like that, I never had nobody, especially his color, do that for me before. And he took me and he cleaned me up. He showed me compassion. Something I wasn't used to. So me and him developed a relationship. He became like the father I never had. And he tried to instill, things in me. He taught me how to use a knife. He taught me pressure points. He used to take me to he used to build cars, Mr. Watson. People didn't know this about him. He had his own garage. He used to build cars from the ground up. He loved building cars. His name was Jimmy James Watson. One other thing that they didn't know about him, he was ex-DEA. He used to be with DEA. He was a cold white man, but he was one of them bush white men, one of them hillbillies. He wasn't no joke. But I developed a relationship with him. I've been to Elko 3 times. This was the second time I've been to Elko. I get out of Elko, got a little high chest on me. You know what I'm saying? I get out like in 89, late 88. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you when I got out. I got out right after this incident right here. My homeboy, Seaweed and Spoonie T, right? I guess Seaweed was taking Spoonie T home. Now, if he ever decided to tell his story, he could tell it better than me. He was taking Spoonie T home, right? I don't know why they drove through West Coast, but they decided to. Now, at this particular day, the police was doing some type of sting. They was out there dressed like Bloods. The police was dressed like Bloods, O'Mac Williams. They was dressed like Bloods. They had confiscated shirts from dudes like JB, from Pyru, and a bunch of other dudes. And they had their shirts on with all that blood insignia and stuff. You can go back in archives and look that up. But Seaweed them drove through there. And what the police was doing was they was running up on cars, asking people was they looking. And I'm like, how y'all can't tell that these white boys with black paint on their face? You know what I mean? But I guess they wasn't looking at the faces, they was looking at the uniforms. But for whatever reason, the police ran up on Seaweed them car. Seaweed them let the police have it. They got him. But it was a sting. So they didn't get fired. And they had the homies on the front page of the newspapers messed up, man. They lucky they lived. Seaweed, Spoonie T, Terry Yor, they went to prison for a long time for this. But this was like kind of a little bit after my homeboy L got killed. You know what I mean? So Seaweed, them, they went to prison for that, blowing on the police, and they was out there dressed up like Bloods and all that. But I got out a little bit after that, you know, and I remember, see, on my life story, there's always something happening, and any real gangbanger know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you about incidents. Everything is not gonna seem good, but you have to stay with me because I'm telling you this for a reason, and it's gonna come together. Oh, I promise you it is. But on this particular day, I spoke about the ABMs on one of my previous videos, right? I get out of Elko. Me and I don't know, I think that was Pimp, me and one of my little homeboys, Pimp, Rocket, one of them, I forget which one it was, but we was up at the Endo Mall. And I was trying to get me some gear, you know what I'm saying? I'm fresh out of Elko, I got me a little high chest, got an S curl in my head, you know what I mean? I'm up there trying to do my thing, you know what I mean? This one, you know, LA Gears was popping off, you know what I mean? You know, everybody rocking LA Gears at the time. So I'm up there, I'm trying to get me some fit, right? So I'm up over there by the LA Gears and stuff, and I hear somebody say, murderer. The fuck? I turn around. It's High Top, John Lee, Big Wrecking Ball, but at this time his name was C. Nail, because his name is Cornelius. They was calling him C. Nail at this time. And it was like two more of them. But the ones I recognized was John Lee, High Top, and Wrecking Ball. I know them. I was in Elko with a Wrecking Ball when he was C. Nail. I know High Top from previous, you know, run-ins. Now, you would think with Donna being our allies at this time that we would be cool with the ABMs, but it wasn't like that. We didn't get along with these guys. So when I hear somebody go, murderer, I turn around. It's Hot Top. This old skinny nigga, he looked me up and down, so I look him up and down. He like, what that anybody murderer like? I'm like, what that Gerson Park Kings man like? And so Big Rack, he gonna say, flourishing ass sheepdog. So when I look at him, we was in Elko together. So when I look at him, I was finna say, yo, mama, and I ain't even getting nothing else out. I looked at him, I say, yo, mama, and before I can say anything, look, John Lee hit me so motherfucking hard. He knocked me into them LA Gears, man. Look, I swear to God, he kind of like detached me from my shadow. My shadow was still standing right there, and I was in a box of LA Gears just looking like this. He slumped me for a minute, I ain't gonna even lie. And when I get my equilibrium back, all I could hear is like feet skirting on the ground. Skirt, skirt, skirt. They beating the brakes off my homeboy. I think that was Pimp. But they was passing him around like all you heard was feet on the ground. Them agents was, look, so I get up out the LA Gears. I'm drunk as a motherfucker, right? So the nigga Hot Top go pick up one of the shoes, I guess that came out the box. He go pick up one of the shoes and slap the shit out of me with it. Bow, right? So, look, I'm having a bad day. Look, them ABMs beat the brakes up out of there. I ain't gonna lie. But after that fourth, fifth slap with that shoe, pow! I I got up out of there, man. I couldn't stay. I was gone. I don't know what happened to the homie, but I came up out of there. You know what I'm saying? I was gone, and I ain't stopped running until I hit Lake Mead. I ain't looked back or nothing. I was gone. They broke me off up in there. I ain't gonna even lie. You know what I'm saying? So you know when I come back, the retaliation came. You know I couldn't let that ride. They beat the brakes off me up in there. You know I couldn't let that go. So on the next one, I had to go down there and get, like Escape said, some understanding. Tune in from the ground up. 20 coming soon. And no, these go be longer. Trust and believe that. And let me do this. For you trolls, if you don't like what I'm doing, this is my life. I bet you one thing you would not be able to do is prove me wrong. I don't lie about nothing. This is my life story, and if you don't want to hear about it, do your own podcast, do your own story, man. This is mine. I know who you are. You want me to say something to incriminate myself so you can use it against me in a court of law. That's what you want me to do. You want me to tell you about stuff that you can use against other people to go back and harm them. That ain't what this gonna be about. So if that's your intentions, you might as well go find another catfish, because I ain't no bottom feeder, motherfucker. And you know who I'm talking to. You is not gonna do me like you did my brothers and sisters that tried to bring some exposure to something, and you only used it to make them seem like they was something other than what they was, and which is redeemed people. But you want them to look like monsters and all that because they don't want to work with you, because they don't want to tell you what Tyrone doing. We don't have to. We don't have to. And we never is. That's the thing about it. You want us to tell our story so we can hang ourselves and hang other people in the process like y'all did Lil Doc Thune over there in California. That's what y'all want to do. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm not finna get political, but I really can. If any motherfucker need to be brought to the Hague for what they done to humanity, you people need to. For real. You people do. You people need to be investigated for the crimes that y'all done covered up. We telling our life stories because we lived a hell of a life and we survivors. And these youngsters need to hear from the people that lived it, not from people in white coats that study us in labs or in the academies. They need to hear it from the people that actually played the game. Okay? Now, when you're dealing with Vegas, if I fail to mention reputable names, Low Dog Mac, you know, I really don't know him too much, but he is a founder of Bonanza Village. Got to throw him up in there. I forgot to mention Mad Meech, Sticker Bush. I forgot to mention Ice Dr. Rock. I forgot to mention Heavy D. I forgot to mention Redbird, Webbo. I forgot to mention Ricky Cooper. I forgot to mention Big Ed. I forgot to mention Keith Carter. I forgot to mention J-Rag, K-Dog. Well, I mentioned K-Dog. Tony Brown. It's a lot of dudes out here that's reputables, man. Females too. Dorothy Ann, Girl Bug, Tanya Washington, DK. You know, Romanette, rest in peace from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Felicia Howe, Felicia Day, Colette Clark. You know what I'm saying? We got hitters out here, man. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted at all. Y'all slept on Vegas. Y'all think we about bright lights and fights. Nah. The real no. It go down out here. And it's going to be more that's going to step up and tell their stories to add on to what I'm building. Because like I said, what I'm bringing to you is from the ground up. Until then, 89106 with it.